YouTubers, got a big video for you today. This one's from a company by the name of MagnaFlow. This is their part number 19483. Now this is not a paid review, so I don't want nobody saying, oh yeah, they paid you to do this review. They've never paid me. If they want to pay me, they send me some money, I'll leave them an address. But anyways, just wanted to show you how to replace the stock exhaust system on here, put this one on, and I went ahead and unboxed it so you guys don't have to watch all that, but I went ahead and laid it out here on the table, and you can see that right here is the muffler, and then right here this piece will slide on, and then this is your exhaust tip. You can see that it's got a really nice tip on it. It's like 4 inches, and then you can see that it's double walled, meaning there's a wall right there on the inside and there's one on the outside, and it just looks sharp instead of just those plain single wall tips. And you know, this exhaust system is supposed to be good for a little horsepower. You know, again, it's not going to be massive horsepower. I would say under 10 horsepower for this exhaust system. Now the stock exhaust system, I believe, is about a 2.5 inch. This one here is a 3 inch, so you know it's going to flow more, and you've got one single muffler compared to the 3 muffler and resonators that's on the Jeep from stock. So also you can look at the muffler. MagnaFlow says that there is a see-through open flow design. Alright, as you can see, went ahead and got the Jeep pulled up on these plastic jacks or plastic ramps, and got it lifted up. That way I'll have a little bit more room to work underneath, and you'll be able to get this big old belly up underneath there. So it doesn't take very many tools. You can do it with just your simple hand tools. You're going to need like a 15mm socket and a 13mm socket and ratchet. Now if you got air tools or power tools to make it a little easier, it might go a little faster. Now as far as the old stock exhaust system that's on here, I'm not going to save it. I'm never going to put it back on. I think the Jeep sounds puny in stock form, so I'm just going to get rid of it. So I'm going to use a Sawzall with a metal cutting blade on it to go ahead and cut the exhaust system out. So stay tuned. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do after you've got it all jacked up in there and everything is you want to take a ratchet and a 13mm socket. You'll have to reach around on top of this bolt right there. There's a little, and you just want to take and loosen that clamp up. And I put a little penetrating oil on it. Sometimes they're hard to get off, but this one come off pretty easy. What you want to do, just loosen that up. Now once you get it loosened, then you'll see right over here that there is like a little clip that holds this clamp to the exhaust pipe there. You don't want to break this or anything, because you are going to be reusing this clamp. I'll take this clamp off of this little clip area once I get the exhaust down on the ground, but you can see that it's completely loose, and once I remove the hangers from the exhaust, then this will just come down real easy. Alright, you can see that we've moved on past the first muffler, and we're right here at the first exhaust hanger. Very simple. It's a 13mm. You have a bolt right here, and then there's another one on top. Just take and use a pretty long extension, probably about 10 inches long, and put your socket on there, and you can easily get to that bolt right there, and do this with just hand tools. You know, you ain't got to take it nowhere. You don't need power tools or air tools or any of that. You can do it with just regular tools. And you can see I went ahead and broke that one, and then down here I broke that one, and I'm just going to choose to remove the whole mount instead of trying to pry that loose from the rubber bushing there. But since I'm not reusing this stock exhaust system, I'm just going to pull the bracket loose and try to remove the system. So what I've decided to do is I told you guys I was going to take the bolts out of this bracket here, and I am, but went ahead and left it in there for now, because what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the exhaust system right here, and that way if I ever want to go back stock, if I was to sell it or something, I could always put a turn down on it right here after the first muffler. Alright, as you seen, it was quick and easy. Got the first piece all pulled out, and you can see there's the stock muffler. And make sure when you go to set this out that you don't damage that clamp, and I'll show you how to get that out here in just a second. Stay tuned. All right, so you've seen I made my very first cut right behind the first muffler, pretty much just right in front of the first exhaust hanger right there. And I've loosened the top bolt, I've kept the bottom one in there so the muffler don't fall down. But then I'm about to make my second cut, and the directions say to remove the spare tire. Well, I'm not going to be using this stock exhaust system, so I'm just, like I said, I'm going to cut it all out. And you know, I figured, why cut this muffler and throw it away? I'm going to reuse it on another car project or something down the road. And so I'm going to make my second cut with a Sawzall right here at the top, just right above the rear differential. So, like I said, I went ahead and made my cut right there, just past the second exhaust hanger. So now you can see that the muffler is held up. It's not going to fall on me. So now all I have to do is just go and remove the bottom bolt from the first hanger. And once I remove that bolt, then it'll be loose on this end. And then I can take and push it towards the rear differential, and it'll slide out this back exhaust hanger. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but if I push it that way, this will slide out of that rear exhaust hanger, and then this muffler will be completely loose. And then all I'll have to deal with is that piece and where it goes out the resonator out the back. So now I went ahead and loosened that bracket, and what I'm going to do is just take and slide that little rubber piece right off the hanger. And if you're curious, it goes back on like that with the rubber part facing the rear differential. And so now, like I said, it's completely loose once I push it forward and slide it out of the front hanger here in the front. You can see it's almost out. Now it's completely out. All right, guys. Well, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and remove the resonator, the very back little muffler looking thing, out of the hanger. I don't know if you guys can see that hanger very well, but I'm just going to pull it towards me. So now, very, very simple. I mean, didn't even break a sweat. And you can pull it out, and you can see it just comes out just like that. All right, guys, so that was pretty much removing the old exhaust system. It literally took me maybe 10 minutes, probably 20 since I had the video. I mean, literally, it just it was simple. Now, you are going to be reusing the stock band clamp. The way that you remove it from the stock exhaust system is right in here. You'll see that there's like a little bracket, and this little clip, this little notched in area fits down in there in a hole, and you got to kind of just bend it out. You can use a pair of screwdriver, you use a needle nose pair of pliers, and just bend that clip, and so it just pulls off like that. And as you can see, that's got a little circle in it, and that little tab right there that I pulled up was pushing down into that circle and preventing it from wanting to pull off there. All right, guys, so I just wanted to put the mufflers side by side and compare them, and as far as length and width and all that. You can see right here is the MagnaFlow muffler, and you can see it's not very wide. It is the same length as the stock muffler, but it's nowhere near as wide as the stock muffler. Now come around on this end, and I told you that the MagnaFlow is a 3-inch. You can see right there, it's 3-inch. And then for the stock muffler, you can see that it's 2.5-inch. So, you know, of course, the MagnaFlow is going to provide you with some more flow. It's more of a high performance muffler, and compared to the stock one. And whereas the stock muffler, you know, it's more to keep it quiet and keep sound down and all that. So, you know, it's not real high flow. So anyways, you'll get the benefit of having a better muffler, bigger exhaust tubing, and so it should flow a lot better. All right, guys, so I've got both exhaust systems laid out side by side so you can see what the stock one looks like versus the factory. And if you come up here to the very front where they bolt up, you'll see that, you know, you've got the MagnaFlow where it bolts up right there, and then the muffler where, you know, there's the stock one, there's where it bolts up, and then you got a little bit of a piece of pipe, and then there's like a muffler resonator, I'm not sure what it is. And then you've got the main stock muffler where there's just a piece of pipe here for the MagnaFlow all the way till you get out the back. And then for the stock one, like I said, you got that big old huge muffler, some sort of resonator here in the back. So I'm sure that's the resonator, and those are probably just 2 mufflers. But you can see that, you know, the stock one is going to be a lot more restrictive, and plus it's 2.5-inch versus the 3. And, you know, it's a pretty big difference once you put them up side by side. So the first step into installing the new MagnaFlow muffler is go ahead and take the original band clamp, and instead of trying to do this on the ground, we're going to do it right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the band clamp, and as you can see, it's not going to fit over that 3-inch pipe plus the flare on the end of it. So you're going to have to loosen this up and open it up as far as it'll go, and then put it on there. And then once that comes loose, then you can put it on there just like that, and then put your little threaded piece back on there and tighten it up just a little bit. All right, so you can see that when you go to install the muffler inlet is offset. So you want to put this side closest to the frame, and you can see I've got that clamp already installed on there. It's just loose, and so I'm just going to pick it up, and I'm going to go ahead and set it on that connector right in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and just loosely tighten that clamp up. I don't know how well you guys can see in there, but I've got those 2 pieces connected there, and once I tighten that clamp up, you know, they'll be secure. But for now, I'm just going to leave them sitting on top of one another real loose. Then I'm going to come back here while I'm holding this muffler, and I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece to the middle pipe and go ahead and get it hooked into that hanger right there so it can be held up by itself, so I don't have to sit here and hold it. So I went ahead and I'm holding this piece here, and it's stable, it's just barely touching me. And I'm going to take this second pipe, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the rear, in that middle hanger, and then I'm going to lock it into this hanger right there. And you can see that I've got it just held in place right there. And then now I'm going to just go ahead and kind of connect them. All right, guys, I went ahead and got the muffler in place. You can see that it's connected right there. I haven't pushed the 2 pipes together, and I've just got it barely hanging on one of the hangers. And then over here, I've just got it barely hanging on the hangers. And I just wanted to go ahead and get everything fitted up nice before I start tightening anything up. But I did want to show you right here on the front of the muffler, up close to the transfer case, you have to keep the muffler tilted. And what I mean by that is it needs to be tilted down a little bit, because there's a little bit of a clearance issue right there by the transfer case. So this is what I'm talking about. Here's the muffler. Let me put it in perspective for you. There's the back of the Jeep. And then there's the muffler. And then there's your transfer case. You can see the muffler is really close to my thumb right there. So when you install it, you have to kind of angle it down and away from that ear there on that transfer case so it doesn't hit. And there's not much room in there between it, so you'll just have to kind of give yourself a little bit of space there. And then right here on that skid plate, you can barely get a finger in right there. So it's going to be kind of tight, but it fit up in there real easy. I didn't have any problems putting it up in there. So you can see that I've got it clamped right in there pretty loose. So now all you got to do is loosen the rear hanger bolts, and then you're going to slide this piece that I have in my hand in place and connect it to the pipe that I already have, and it's going to fit in there somewhere like that. So we're almost done, just a few more minutes. All right, well, I'm all finished. You can see where I've got it bolted up there at the transfer case, all the way back to that first hanger, and you can see it sticking through on the other side of the hanger, the isolator. And then you come back, and then you go to the second hanger. You can see that it's poking through. Then it goes up and around, and then it comes out there at the exhaust tip, and then you can see I've got it going through that last hanger out there. And so, man, this thing looks good up underneath here. It looks real good, and I can't wait to hear how it sounds, so we're gonna check that out together. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so I am done. Very simple installation. Literally took me about a little over an hour, no more than an hour and 15 minutes, and that's with me videoing. So, you know, if you follow my instructions and you're not going to reuse the stock exhaust at a later date, then just cut it with a Sawzall and be done. I seen one guy using a cutoff wheel. That's a little dangerous, especially didn't have no guard on there or anything. And if that cutoff wheel gets out of hand, and you easily lose a finger. But one thing I wanted to show you, this is the stock exhaust, and you can see there's the tip where it comes out the turn down. But I noticed something pretty interesting right here on the exhaust. You can see where there's a flat spot, and that's from the factory. I didn't do it. I don't know if it got bent somehow. This is just a stock Gladiator suspension, so you know nothing's contacted it, so that had to be from the factory. So you can see what a big bend that is. Look at that, and look at that up close. That's a big restriction there. I mean, can't believe that they've flattened out that pipe. And so I gotta say, the MagnaFlow one's even bigger in diameter, and it stays all nice and tucked up under the frame rails. So they didn't have to bend theirs, so I just wonder why that was bent. So anyways, I know it's gonna flow a lot better since it's bigger tubing and there's no restriction right there. Now is the moment that I'm gonna show you the finished product. You can see that exhaust tip looks nice, stuck up underneath right there. And for you crawler guys, you know, are gonna say, well, that, you know, that's not very good for rock crawling. Yeah, I mean, it's it hangs down a little bit, but not nowhere near as low as what we were expecting it to. It tucks up real close to that part of the fender flare there, and so I was pretty happy with it. It's not going to hang down real low. It just looks like it was meant for the Gladiator. And then right in here, you can see that pipe up in there, and it looks all nice and shiny. So I really like it. So now for the moment of truth, we're going to start it up. So stay tuned. I've not heard it yet, so I'm going to hear it at the same time you guys hear it. So, all right, guys, she's fixing to start it up and back it off these ramps. And so I'm going to get a little closer where you can hear it real good. Go ahead and start it up, baby. There we go. It's got a pretty deep tone to it. Actually shocked. All right, let me get those ramps out from underneath it. All right, guys, I'm gonna pause you. I'll be right back. I'm gonna rev it up a little bit for you. Here we go. Alright guys, so you see me take off, and I just wanted to show you it's not very loud. You can barely hear it on the inside. It's just a little bit more noticeable, but not much. You can still hold a conversation in here. It's not going to be annoying. You heard me take off, and it sounded pretty good whenever I went from a stop. Sounds pretty good when you get on it. I like that. But yeah, you can see I'm running about 50 miles an hour. I can't really get on it right here. You know, I'm on a little country road and it's kind of bumpy. Plus the cops set down here. So let me get to where I can, you know, get on it a little bit more and give it some more gas and let you guys see what it sounds like there. Now, again, you know, you can't really hear it on the inside. It's pretty quiet. But when you give it some gas, it sounds way different than stock. But listen. And some of that's from the intake too. Alright, now we're gonna video from the outside and see if we can get some sound clips of what it sounds like from outside of the vehicle going down the road. Rev it up.